why that guest was the worst guest that's ever been on this show.
They'll never be back on this show.
Absolutely not.
What a bunghole.
Hate that
Whose
guy.
tail is that? Dennis.
This is Geezer.
Geezer?
That's a way to start the show.
What a way.
Mike,
Hey!
give us an intro.
Okay. Geezer?
Yep.
Okay, I guess we're live. We are live. I know we're live. Cheers, everyone. Friday night, Saturday morning. That's that time of the week again. God, it comes around so quick every week. Drinking
Time
beer
flies.
Saturday morning. This
Cheers
is the show.
to the chat.
This is the show that was meant to happen in
Like April.
April.
Yeah, the 19th, the 420 Eve.
Yeah.
20.
I was supposed to play a 420 fest the next day. Obviously, it didn't happen, but memorable date.
Yeah. But
We were hanging out together at the hospital that day.
Yeah, weren't we?
We're all here now.
We're all here.
Well worth the wait.
Analog Attack. What are you listening to? Episode
79.
79.
You want to check? He's great. He should be the host more often.
I don't have the ring light though. That's you got the pro setup.
Yeah, I was just saying, got the $10 ring light. I
Yeah,
am Steven Spielberg. Yes.
man. An auteur.
Yes. What are we doing? It's what you're listening to. We've each got 5 records. We're going to have a great time talking about. Matt's here. Dennis is here. Hazel's here. Thanks for coming on. It's going to be a great show. It's always a great show. Let me do the appealing.
It's the housekeeping.
Housekeeping.
And this is a more important housekeeping than usual.
Well, it's more. Well, I want to say that my own personal house cleaning.
Well, that's no. But before everyone watching, before we went on the air, Mike was saying, if we don't have 500,000 subscribers by the end of this episode, it's done. He's done with the show. He's scrubbing all the old episodes. He's erasing himself from the internet.
That's a high.
So like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. No pressure.
It's important.
Don't we have like something to give away if we get up to 500,000?
No, it's he said if we don't reach it, it's over.
The best of the Beatles. How about that? That'll do.
Raging.
Cheers.
I realize that-
Go ahead, Matt.
Oh yeah, we should. I can't see a chat. Is there?
There's chat. There's
Okay,
no one in
I
it.
won't worry about it.
There's no one in it, but there is a chat.
Oh no, is this going to be one of those?
It's working. There you go. It is working.
Hey.
I think it takes a while, you know. Once someone says something,
Well, hello, Haunted Holly.
the floodgates open.
Quite a message.
There you go. All right, let's get going, shall we? I'm gonna I changed my first pick, but I didn't get rid of the pick that I was gonna have as first pick. I bumped it down to my second pick, and then something else got jettisoned. I forgot. Hey,
Jesse.
the whole band's here.
Oh God.
All 3 of us.
Yes.
We thought about having Hazel sing at one point, actually.
That's true, yeah. It's going to be
I
Hazel
wasn't
here.
aware of this.
Then she got ran over by a car.
I could do a bit of tambourine for you. Linda McKay.
Oh, we love it. Or an international band.
All right. So my first pick got switched around, but I kind of listen to this band a lot anyway. My favorite Japanese hardcore band of all time, I want to say.
Okay.
Unfortunately, key member of the band passed away on June 15th. The drummer of this band passed away. So it would be silly, like, not to kind of pay tribute to him and
Right.
the band. He played in a lot of other bands, actually, not only this band. We'll kind of get to that. But Lip Cream, we're talking about Lip Cream. Obviously, to me, Lip Cream is like Japanese hardcore. I think really, when you get down to it, I think they did influence like more bands than any other band.
Oh, yeah. When you think of that sound, that's who you
I
think
mean,
of.
night. Not to go too deep into that, but kind of Nightmare is like pretty much Lip Cream from Osaka, you know. But anyway, Bill Chamberlain already showed my like personal favorite Lip Cream record, like last year. So I'm gonna show my second favorite Lip Cream album. What do you think it is? Any guesses?
Close to the edge.
Exactly. There we go.
It's close to the edge. That's what I was guessing. Yeah.
First of all, let's just sort of take in the splendor of the visuals of this record, because I think it's fucking amazing.
Well, that's how it feels to be close to the edge.
I mean, who was doing this in like 1988? What hardcore punk band had the audacity?
Who's doing that now?
Well, Paintbox. I want to say Paintbox.
Okay.
A little bit, you know, with the unconventional punk artwork, you know.
Alternate album name: Earth in the Grip of the Octomom.
I like it. I like it a lot. I'm actually going to get to let's get to this now, because it's a fun.
You have an Octomom connection here.
I don't want to forget this important point. Okay, so Close to the Edge. Maybe people know that was the title of a Yes LP, famous progressive rock group. And like over the years, I'd often say, you know what? I reckon like Lip Cream, they took the name of this record from that record, and everyone's like, no, what you're talking about, you idiot? They wouldn't do that. I have proof. Check it out.
Okay, here we go.
So Close to it. Look, check out these kanji. Jesse Conway can read it.
Jesse in the chat, translate for us.
I know what it says. I looked it up, but it's Kiki. Kiki means crisis. So this is Earth Crisis. Jesus, I just thought of that too. But Kikin, yeah. So,
an Octostorm.
There you go. Memorize these kanji.
Crisis.
Right? See them? You see them? Then Exhibit A. There we go. There they are on the OB.
By golly.
The exact same kanji. I rest my case. They totally did take the name of this record, and I love that because I love Yes, and I just love everything about like the kind of progressive rock look of the album cover and everything, and like look at that. I mean, come on, it's like the typography and everything. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful, and the music is just like the most raging hardcore punk that probably has ever been laid to a slice of wax. It's just relentless. But, you know, Lip Cream, man, they were relentless, but the songs were all fucking catchy and, like, you know, I know, one-of-a-kind band to me. You
saw them, didn't you?
I saw them once, yeah, like, in 1990, like, right at the tail end of their career. Well, just after, like, the fourth LP kind of came out. But they were kind of, like, on the way out at that point.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. They were great, but, yeah. Classic Japanese hard. And I listened to it again last night. Fucking the drumming is like, just like that. Like the production on this record is a little off, and the mix is a little off. Man, it's like, I was almost like jumping out of my chair with like fright, like how like loud like Pill's like, you know, kick drum is or whatever he does. It's like he just fucking kind of jumps out of the speakers every now and again. It's like Jesus Christ. He's like pubbling the hell out of that drum kit, you know.
Yeah, that band's just relentless. Like it's exhausting.
Yeah, but in a good way.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It feels like a workout when you finish the record, but like in the good way, like you were saying. I almost pulled that one, so you beat me to it, but it's not in my pile, so you're good.
Oh wow, nice. Yeah, I know. This is just like, and another thing, like 1988. Like who was doing like hardcore punk like this? And like, you know, in Europe there was some kind of good hardcore, but like in America it was like the Bad Brains, Eye Against Eye, and like, you know, and everything was gone like a little bit downhill around
Youth Crew, Holocaust.
I don't know. It's like, yeah, and they broke up. They're only around for like 7 years, 83 to 90. They were prolific. Last week, we were talking about like Japanese hardcore bands aren't very prolific. They were pretty prolific. You know, 4 full-length LPs, a full-length tape, 2 7-inch singles, and like tons of like compilation tracks in 7 years. That's pretty.
Yeah.
Pretty prolific. Yeah.
I remember you talking about that last week about, the emphasis on playing live over recording. But man, I wish bands would actually focus more on recording, because I don't know, once you're done, I want something to continue to experience.
Yeah, I guess we were talking about last week, and they hadn't recorded anything. It was like a 17-year gap, like where they just didn't record anything, which is kind of crazy.
Bath's band? Bath's band, I? Or which I are you talking about?
Yes, from Kitakyushu.
Oh, different.
AI,
yes.
Oh, that band. Okay. I was thinking the letter I. I'm like, they've only done one album too, and I'd love to hear another one. Yeah.
I mean, if there's anyone out there who hasn't heard Liver Cream, this wouldn't be a bad place to start. Like the first LP is kind of different. It's a little bit different. It's weird. It's on a different record label, so it's on Captain Records, which is like a big, like indie, almost major, and it's kind of different. And the singles aren't that great either. That could be a controversial opinion. I don't think they're that great. This is where the LPs, like the second, third, and fourth LPs, are like where it's at.
And it's a shame because like the Knight Rider one's like the easiest one to get, and it's the worst.
Right?
Not bad.
I mean, it's not bad, but it's definitely like it's not. Yeah.
Is there any reason why those LPs don't get like reissued? I know the CDs have come out, but
okay, that's a good question. So all the CDs came out, were reissued on the Oni, which was Pill's label.
Okay.
And they kind of got remastered and just remastered maybe, but apparently like the definitive version of this record is the Oni CD, not the Selfish CD, the Oni reissue. It sounds amazing. Like Ken from Prank Records was saying, man, you gotta check it out. You'll be amazed how good.
I'm surprised he hasn't done something with this. If anyone was gonna do
I think he's tried. I think there's I think at that point the band members weren't getting along. You have to deal with Selfish Records, who have been defunct since the 90s. I think it's just too much of a quagmire to get into. But
it's one of those things
like printing money if they worked out.
Right, but Japanese bands don't really care. They're really not into records. Really, most of the bands, they really don't care.
It's just one of those cases where it's like you'll have these box sets for a band that had a demo tape, and which I don't have a problem with, but then you have these, which they're classics in the genre, and you got to spend a lot to get an LP. So
yeah, I mean, we're kind of talking about FOAD is like any band, like any Japanese band, will put them out. I think, and Tom's more discerning, I think, and tasteful. But let's not get into that too much. But yeah, you're right. I mean, these should be. But I think when Yannick did Death Side, that wasn't an easy task for him, in many ways. So yeah, I know. It'll be great to see these records reissued on vinyl.
Oh, absolutely.
And and people just aren't around anymore. I don't know. You have to give permission. Anyway, rest in peace to Pill, one of the best hardcore drummers of all time.
All right, now it's my turn.
It is your turn, yeah.
Oh my God, I'm second now. All right. Well,
Judgment box set be amazing.
Yeah, that's another one. That's Judgment. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Or just an LP.
12-inch would do it.
That would be actually. I would prefer that personally. No bonus material. Don't want it. Just the 7-inch singles on a 12-inch.
If anyone's gonna be putting that out, I want the box set. I want rehearsal tracks. I want everything.
Actually, I forgot to field that question about the octopus. I don't know why Giant Octopus is on there. But that's not in the comments. Maybe it's probably to do with Japanese mythology and stuff. The octopus features heavily in various old Japanese works of art and stuff. Anyway, Matt.
There we go. Mike solved it for us. It's because the octopus, ancient Japan.
Something like that. Yes.
Something like that. All right. Well, I'm bringing back the short, sharp shock.
Bring it back. Bring it back. It's been a while.
Bring it back. We're we're doing an international band here. Where there's some members are in Australia, and one is in Philly. I don't really know the backstory behind this project or why it happened, but it's Erupt. It is the vocalist from Geld, who you have featured on this show.
Okay.
It's the guitarist from Sheer Mag.
Wow.
And there's another guy from Australia who does something in it. But it's a super vicious, like, I re-listened to it, and it's like, it is a hardcore record, but it leans way more towards almost like a sort of like blackened thrash kind of thing. It's ugly. It's like a hideous sounding record in a good way. Because we've all heard Geld here. You know, his vocals are that like sort of raspy, like screech kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it fits really well with this, with that sort of black metalish thrash kind of thing.
Is it a bit psychedelic at all?
Not at all.
Okay, because Geld is right. Geld is kind of psychedelic.
This is way more, I don't know, swords hitting a castle wall and bats flying at you. Like it's got a real vibe to it. It sounds like it's not like a shitty recording, but it's that like rough DIY kind of sounding recording. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if they did it like, I don't think he like flew all the way to Australia to play guitar on it or anything.
Is it like a file sharing kind of thing?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know the whole story behind it, and I'd love to know.
Right.
It also, I love me a stamped sleeve like that. Just, you know, nice little treat.
Static Shock Records.
What's that?
Static Shock Records.
It is on Static Shock, yeah. It's also on, the Australian one was on Cool Death. Yeah, it's got like song titles like Shinin' Claymore. That's not shining, it's shining. Floating Head, which is about being decapitated.
By a shining claymore, no doubt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's got like, you know, ugly skull creatures, and you know, it's
nice.
The whole vibe of it is this ugly, cobwebbed, evil hardcore.
Nice. Sounds great. Is it new?
No, it came out maybe 2 years ago now.
That's new.
Yeah, it seems to me like it might have just been a one-off project, but it's really good. It's evil, vicious, decapitating hardcore. Who doesn't like that? Erupt. Self-titled 7-inch on Static Shock. Probably pretty easy to get, so check it out. That's my first pick. Dennis.
I love Static Shock. I just the way that logo on the, you know.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
Yeah.
So cool.
Nice. Erupt. Check it out.
All right.
Me too. I'm sold too. All right. Danny boy. What you got?
Here we go. Can't exactly choose one of them, but I'm just gonna put all three up here. Grim Reaper.
Oh.
We got Fear No Evil. This one's, I don't think I could choose my favorite.
Really?
These.
Interesting. Okay.
They're all fucking incredible. I mean, this is like one of those bands that, you know, when I was younger, I started listening to because I thought it was funny. You know, we'd be sitting around and laughing at it, you know, like, can I make you an offer you can't refuse? And then there's like one line, he's like, I told you that you'll lose. Like, I told you, like, what the hell? The lyrics, I mean, you know, and Rock You to Hell, he's, you know, talking about, you know, did you always do what mama said, brush your teeth and go to bed? Because that way never worked for me. Fucking gets you pumped.
His teeth are terrible now.
He passed away, right?
He did pass away, yeah.
They would be.
No. It's really bad.
Steve
Yeah,
Grimmett.
dude. There's only like on these 3 albums. There's just one song that I skip, and it's the song "Suck It and See." It's called "Suck It and See" on Rocky Down. It's just like this slow. It's set to like it's played to like the having sex tempo. You know what I mean?
Tempo's that.
You know the song "Black Velvet," if you please, kind of like that tempo. Okay. You know, that song's kind of weird. I mean, some people probably like that song. I don't know. It's weird.
Grim Reaper's funny because I was into heavy metal and still am, but like Steve Grimmett, he takes things to the limit with the vocals, you know.
Yeah, he does. His vocals are incredible. Look at that cover; it's fucking awesome. And great vocals. I mean, God, look. I mean, so I think their most famous appearance was on Beavis and Butthead, right? Where they
yeah.
But yeah, he's on the
he sings on like at least one other band's album, right?
Yeah, he's on that hardcore band's album. What are they called?
Didn't he sing? He sang for another new wave British heavy metal band too on their first album, and then they replaced him with someone else. Blanking.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Onslaught is who he sang.
He sang in Onslaught.
Third album.
He sang in Onslaught too, yeah.
And that's their best album. I'm gonna fucking fight people about that because
I'll fight you.
I'm sorry, but I sold all my Onslaught shit because it's just so boring. I can't get through a song.
I mean, honestly, Power from Hell is fucking boring. Really,
it is so like it's got all the right shit, and you're like, fuck yeah! Look at the cover. There's a fucking pentagram. There's like evil shit going on. There's like
it's like punk metal, the birth of metal punk or whatever.
Yeah, so cool. But then I just can't get through a song.
What's the one that you're talking? The one you're talking about has the light bulb on it. Is that the one that Steve Grimmett sang
on? Yeah, I don't know. Favorite. I listen to it on Spotify, and it's like I can get through more of that album than any of the other ones. Yeah, it's got the light bulb. I've been In Search of Sanity, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. But anyway, I want to tell a story. Amanda and I went and saw Grim Reaper. Like I don't know, when was it? I've got tickets in here.
Ticket stubs.
Yeah, 2016.
All right.
They came to Alrosa, this like disgusting, scummy like metal club in Columbus. But and we were just like, yeah, we're fucking going. And it was great. His voice sounded so good. It was amazing. It was so much fun. And then like the year after, they went on that tour to South America. Do you know the story or what happened? Like he had diabetes really bad.
They had to cut his leg off, right?
Yeah, he like got put in the hospital. There, if you look it up, he's like, there's like a quote from him talking about it, how it just like all his like arteries hardened in his leg and all this nasty shit, and they had to cut his leg off up to like
one hell of a tour.
Yeah, super gnarly. And then I think he passed not too long after that. Yeah. But just super cool, like positive dude. I mean, I was, following his Facebook at that time, once that happened, I was like, Jesus Christ, what the hell, and
I remember that he was like, yeah, the show will go on, like,
right. Yeah. He was performing an egg.
I know.
Yeah, he would sing and he was singing sitting down during that show because he was talking about that show too, where his leg was just he was in an excruciating pain, and he was still,
he's a pro.
Yeah, still going, even though he got his leg cut off. But anyway.
I'm a total poser. I've only heard "See You in Hell," like the song. Like that's the only Grim Reaper song I've ever heard.
Amazing song. I mean that's probably the album you should start with.
Yeah, start at the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, that one's probably the most tasteful. Like once you steal your nerves, you can work up to "Rock You to Hell" because that's the cheesiest one. But it's ripping, dude. So many good.
I I had a friend in high school who made like a mix CD of like bad songs, and he put that on there. But we would like listen to it and be like, I don't know, this song is actually good. Like, it's just fun to listen to. It's not bad.
Yeah.
I think because he saw it on Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, they kind of like, I don't know if that like did them any good or not, you know, like.
It exposed them to a wider audience.
Yeah, I mean, that might have been how I heard them first. I don't know. I don't remember. But
yeah, great stuff.
Yeah, I haven't delved too deep into this discography. I've heard like a few songs, but I couldn't tell you which ones.
Me too, actually. I'll be honest. I do own them, but I don't pull them out like as much as I should. But they are obviously classics. I'm a classic band with the best name.
I mean, yeah, they nailed it with that.
Yeah, awesome cover art. I mean, the one with the skeleton breaking through the church. I mean, come on. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
You can't beat that. It's so stupid and amazing. Like,
yeah. And it's such a bad... I've been to a lot of churches. That's not a good...
It's actually Tiffany stained glass circa 1800.
If only you could see his landing after bursting through the window.
All right, Grim Reaper. There we go. Nice. All right, Hazel, what's your first pick?
All right, so I didn't have a particular order for these, but there's a lovely comment in the chat that's I think it's Matt's pick as music to lay siege to a castle to.
Oh.
So I like that description, but also we're going to keep the castle theme going and the siege theme going.
Oh,
all right.
I posted about before, but now I want to talk about it in more detail. This would be the Siege Fire LP that just came out on Blackwater a few months ago. The limited edition has two different covers. There's an alternate one here that's printed. It's real fancy looking. Beautiful. And so me and my buddies have been talking about how we're all going to be in our worm era, WYRM. Lots of worm content on this record. We've got like cool spirally dragon guys all over everything. Got one on the alternate cover, got one on the regular cover, and like, look at this. That guy is not having the best day. Look at how tormented this looks.
He's under siege.
Inside, like, more cool spiky dragon guys. It's fantastic. And then it matches the music. So they do, I guess what people would call like Crasher Crust. It sounds pretty Frampton-esque. It's not, they don't have like a ton of variation in tempo in this. So it's kind of like listening to this wall of torment. And I really like it. I saw them last year. People from like Decomp and Nick's Division and like a bajillion other bands. So all-star lineup. But I saw them last year at this fest that I went to that some of you have heard me expound upon in detail. But for those of you who haven't, I went to Concatenate Fest, which is out in the Washington State, like about 2 hours from Portland, 2 hours from Seattle. And it's in the woods, a little bit outside of this small town. You have to like bring in your own water and stuff, and you have to camp. And I really wanted to go because it's like 2 days of, mostly crusted related genres in the woods. But I was really scared to go because it's like, I don't camp. I've never camped. I don't know how this works. It ended up going really well because like I borrowed equipment from my friend who lives in Portland who had like a tent I could borrow and everything. And I was like struggling trying to set it up. So my friend had to mostly set it up for me and all that. But really good time anyway. Super chill fest. All the bands were good. Siege Fire were a highlight. Really just furious live. It's kind of like somebody just screaming in distorted torment for 20 minutes or whatever. Also feels like a workout when it's done. Same with the record. So I really enjoyed that. And self-promotion too. So I do photo zines. I'm not really like a photographer. I mostly take photos in service of doing the zines, not the other way around, because I like cutting and pasting things. So I made a special Concatenate Fest zine with photos from the fest that I went to and everything. And they ended up using a couple of mine on the insert.
I didn't know that.
Nice.
Which if you make a list of like all the different punk activities to like cross off what you've done, Having photos in record wasn't something I ever really expected to do because I'm not a photographer. I just like cutting and pasting things. But so that was really cool and kind of a nice memento of a great weekend band I'm excited about. And I think they're playing Skullfest this year. So if any of you Ohio folk or West Virginia folk are coming to that, hopefully they'll be on a show that you guys can make it to.
I got my pass, so I'll be there.
Cool.
Nice.
Dennis, are you going to any of the shows?
Yeah, I think so. I'm planning on it. I've kind of procrastinated figuring out logistics and what are the shows like announced, because I kind of wanted to see what shows at what bands.
You've got to make kind of an Excel spreadsheet
for Saturday or Friday afternoon at the ports, but everything else they haven't announced yet.
Okay, yeah, I'm hoping like 3 or so of the or more of the bands I really want to see are on a show, and then I'll be like, I'm going.
Yeah, there's like a lot of bands that I want to see this year, but I'm hoping they're all on like 2 or 3 shows.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I can take it easy.
I saw the flyer. It's crazy. It's like every band, you know.
Graphic design nightmare. How many different fonts are on that?
Takes you back to Chaos and Tejas a little bit.
Yeah. It's pretty stacked lineup this year.
It's tougher to get from venue to venue than it was at Chaos.
Oh, okay. They're all spread around the city kind of thing?
Oh, yeah.
We talk about that a lot, how just great Chaos and Tejas was because you could just walk to the venues and get around a lot easier. I mean, you know, maybe not the 3 a.m. show under the bridge, but like, you know, most of them are really easy to get to. And yeah, it's a lot harder with a lot of the other fests. It's kind of a bummer sometimes when like there's like a big show and then a couple smaller shows and you can't just like leave to catch certain bands, but can't handle it, yes.
We have Kapunk now in Japan, which is kind of a similar thing. It's like in Tokyo with like 4 different clubs and like every band plays and some of the shows kind of overlap, but you can kind of walk from one venue to the other.
It's the walkability. That's the important part for these fests. Skullfest, you gotta like drive. It's tough.
Yeah, we need a walkability rating, kind of like they have on Zillow. You know, like B+, C-. I'm gonna think about going to that fest a little harder.
Last year I had guests who wanted to go to every show, and usually I don't do that because it's too much for me. But I was like, hey, why not? And I ended up chauffeuring tons of people around between shows because I was the only sober one. And like, I don't mind doing it, but it was also just like, man, this is a lot of driving back and forth.
That's a great pick. That's just new. That's new. That's brand new, right? On Blackwater, that record.
Yeah, it just came out like March, I think.
Nice. Wonder if Punk and Destroy or Revenge have that. They probably do.
I'm sure they do.
I'll ask them later. Oh,
it's your turn, Mike.
It's my turn. I was wondering why there was like deadly silence. Hang on. Let me have a little sip.
No.
So last week I was talking about AI, the Japanese band. So I was rummaging around in the A section of the Japanese hardcore collection, and I plucked out something. Man, I plucked out something that I don't play enough, and I played it like this week once, and I played it again, and I played it again, and I played it again. It's from 2010 on HG Fact. We miss HG Fact now. I was like, when I was like looking up like this a little bit on the Discogs, I kind of just was scrolling through their like discography.
Insane.
And just some of the stuff, it's like Jesus Christ, they did everything, you know. They did all the good Japanese hardcore, you know.
The baby GIF, the baby GIF on his old website. I always just think of that, like the dancing baby. What's that from again, Matt? You said it was from like.
Oh God, yes.
Well, it was from the internet, but Ally McBeal had it.
Ally McBeal. What the hell? And I looked it up and saw it on YouTube, and I was like, what?
That's like so like Japanese. It's just like they don't care about any of this shit. It's like
Ally McBeal. What?
Jesse's already kind of guessing my pick and maybe complaining about it.
Oh my God. Jesse, chill out.
I thought Jesse liked that band.
And actually, I doubled down on my picking of it because it ties in with a pick that Matt had last time that Matt was on.
Oh, I think
which would be Assault, because there's members of Assault.
Yeah. But you recommended an A band.
Did I?
Yeah.
CDs. Why didn't they reissue that first album
put
yet?
everyone out of their misery, and let's have a look at the record. It's Jesse guessed it's Alliance.
Yeah. I bought that because after that last episode.
Okay, what do you think? Is it you on board with it?
I didn't like it as much as Assault, but
okay, that's there.
I liked it.
It's interesting because it's unique. Yeah, it's
I've only given it one listen, so really, I mean, what can I say? I don't know yet.
Big, like ecological theme on this record. There's an amazing like illustration of like the tree of capitalism or something. I think it's called. It has the tree with all the motorway branches and stuff, which is not. It's kind of unusual for a Japanese hardcore band, I would say.
It's a nice big fold out.
It is a big fold out. Oh, there's a little. Look at this. There's a little. There you go. There's a little. Look at that design. Check.
All right.
Oh, it's a gig. It's the release gig. Moonstep and Anti-Knock. Amazing.
All right.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, it does sort of fold out into a big poster. It's real nice. But it's like two members from Assault, and the bassist was in fucking Asbestos and Macrophage, you know.
Okay.
With pedigree, you know. And the vocalist was from Frigora. Talking of like Crusher Crust.
Yeah.
As we were. But, his vocals might be my least favorite part of the record. They're like, that's super screechy. They're screechy. Almost black metalish at times, or like emo violence or whatever you call that genre. You're like screeching vocals. But
I like screeching vocals though. I got no problem with them.
Then you're
like we yelled earlier. I like that like raspy scream.
It's pretty cool. I mean, I guess like this is kind of in the stadium crust arena a little bit.
We talked about that last time. It's okay to have little bits of it.
A bit, yeah. It's like
it's a thin line.
It's a thin line. It's a small stadium. I know it's saying. Like this band couldn't fill a stadium.
Theater crust.
Yeah, if you're banana picking on the whole album, you've crossed the line.
Oh, I was gonna ask you what that is. No, this starts off with like it kind of smashes right in, and there's like a kind of the vocalist kind of talks over the intro like people did back in the day, you know, like Aus Rotten or Conflict or Antisec. You know, he's like talking again, not usual for a Japanese band. There's this moment on this record, and I saw them live once in Osaka. I don't do this these days anymore, and I used to do it quite a bit, where a certain song, a band would kind of sort of start a certain song, and you would just sort of become an idiot, you know, and just like jump off whatever you were standing on and like get right in the front and like throw your beer at the singer, or you know what I'm talking about. But it's like, so when I saw this band, there's a moment on like I think it's the second song, just has this like incredible like riff and kind of breakdown that goes into the next song, which just it made me do that. When I saw them live, and I felt very stupid.
That's a good thing.
It's not my fault. They made me do it.
Yeah, they do it.
Approval.
Yeah. I think this is like an overlooked record a little bit because it's not crust, and it's not DB, and it's not Japanese hardcore. It doesn't kind of fit neatly into one little box. So I don't know. I think it's great.
Yeah, cool record.
Yeah, nice, like silk green. The whole thing just has a nice vibe about it.
It's a really impressive package.
Yeah,
all of it.
It's a painting. You know, I can see it's a painting. You can almost like see the. Yeah, it's amazing. Actually, you can't really tell on the screen here, but it's beautiful. Yeah. That's why I said we miss HG Fact. You know, so I think the Japanese hardcore scene and the demise of HG Fact do go like hand in hand a little bit. I want to say there's just not that like support there.
Yes, he wasn't afraid to put out weird shit. You know,
He wasn't.
just all kinds of stuff.
He put out going back to Pill from Lip Cream. He put out like the single that he did with Kaiji Hino, the experimental guitarist, which is fucking way out there. It's not hardcore at all. He put that out. He did loads of weird stuff. He did like Cocobat 7 inches and like Death Master 7 inches and he did tons of stuff and lots of split singles too, right? With an American band and a Japanese band, like Slang and World Burns to Death and stuff like that, right? I miss it.
That Slang World Burns to Death was almost going to be a pick this week.
Oh, yeah? There you go.
Oh yeah, we had some World Burns to Death discussion. I was wondering if you're going to do that in Defiance.
I rebought that first Defiance LP the other day, actually. Don't know why. It's okay. Anyway, that's my second pick. Alliance. Check it out. It's out there. It's probably in your local $5 bin. Maybe not. I don't know.
It was cheap when I bought it a few months ago. So
there you go. Yeah, it's still a cheap record over here, even though it was like super limited on vinyl.
Probably a cheap Discogs buy for us here.
I think so. Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to be in too many stores. Did you get it in a store, Matt?
No, I got it on Discogs.
Yeah, I was going to say that'd be kind of crazy.
All right, there you go. That's the last of my Japanese picks.
Hedgehog fact. Sauce.
Well, right. I'm gonna keep it in Japan.
Okay. So. Don't go to Japan. Oh, sorry.
It's a label we mentioned earlier. A label that
just 10 seconds ago, kind of thing.
Well, no, it's 10 minutes ago, maybe. Okay. If you're a band from Japan, you could put out one tape. This label is going to find everything you ever did. They're going to find every picture, everything. And I love it. I want more of it. And this was a release they did somewhat recently. That I'm glad they found all this stuff.
Man, this could be anyone.
It's G10 discography. I guess mostly discography. It's all the early stuff.
Chiba.
Yes. Just look at the mohawks on that. Like, I think that alone, like, what it's going to sound like. This is, I love this kind of Japanese hardcore, that like super burly, just like devil vocal, like kind of stuff. Everything, it sounds so aggressive and it sounds like it's going to kick your ass. Like, it's good. The first tracks on it are from some comp CD, and they're the best. It's like
I think. Well, my voice is coming out of someone's speaker quite loudly. I don't know. I'm getting like an echo, like a reverb on my own vocals. It's gone now. I reckon those tracks probably. I haven't bought this yet. I think those comp tracks come from a CD called Chiba Last Warrior.
You would be correct.
At exactly the same time as I did. There you go. We're experts on this stuff.
Like it has the cover right there.
Yeah, I bought that when it came
out. Yeah, like it's one of those comes. Everything that's like reverse chronological order. It gets worse as it goes on.
Right.
But I don't know. It just scratches that itch. Like I really like that like gruff vocal hardcore in Japan. A band you mentioned earlier, like Asbestos, is one I always think of for that kind of style. That like, I don't know, it's pummeling, gruff, aggressive hardcore. And yeah, because it's FOAD who put this out, like it's this booklet that's just full of so many pictures and scans of all the old tapes and another 7-inch, because why the hell not? Of some like unreleased stuff. And then more pictures of them, mohawks and sunglasses. Like it's just look into that book. Like, I don't know, if you're looking for some punk fashion tips, they got them.
I always like the mustache and mohawk combo.
I don't know what else to say about it because it's so like it's
just very like typical of the time. Influenced by Lip Cream probably and Gizm. It's basically like Lip Cream meets Gizm, with more like gruff vocals like Asbestos, which is like Gizm. But like, man, there was like so many bands like in Japan in like that era playing hardcore. Like every town, like in Japan, had like bands playing like that exact same style. It's crazy, you know.
And I like that real burly hardcore, and I don't think that's as common now among the entire hardcore scene. It's a lot of it's more jangly guitar in hardcore. I don't know. I mean, if the riffs are good, then it's cool. I don't mind. But I want that burliness.
I haven't picked that up yet. I'm not enough FOED. I'm not gonna pick up then it's like, okay,
I'll buy it all.
You got me. Yeah, it's like, okay, I cannot resist. It's like, yeah. I get it? It's good, right? It's good enough, right?
Oh yeah, it's good, and it's only one LP,
right?
So, and 1 7-inch,
and a bonus 7-inch. You know what? Like my favorite stuff of theirs is they kind of did a CD only thing in like the 90s.
Yeah, that's what, because I was saying like it's not a full discography because there's that, and I've never heard that.
Get on it.
Okay,
I'll get on it. It's right up your alley. Yeah.
All right, FOAD ASAP. I'm gonna be on it.
I want FOAD to put that out on an LP.
They might.
They probably will. You know. Yeah.
They put out that Asbestos CD that came out like a while ago. They just put that out on an LP.
They did. Yeah, and they reissued the old stuff too, right?
I think they've done almost everything for them. But I don't know. I bring that up for also just a discussion on. I know a lot. That label is very. Some people love it. Some people really do not like it. I love just the archival aspect of what they do. And I know that sometimes with all the rehearsal tracks, it can get annoying to listen to some of the records. But I love that they just, this obsessive sort of collecting of everything. And then stuff that like a lot of, it'd be gone. Like they're finding some stuff it's just absurd. Like
there's a few, my voice is coming out of someone's computer like real loudly.
I hope it's not me.
Yeah, maybe we can mute if we're not talking. I don't know.
Oh no. It's just my voice is like coming out of the output of like, but it's gone now. It's fine now. I was going to say something then. Yes, like the Juntes double LP collection. That was like, I was so happy to get that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Super cool. Very deserved. There's no arguing there on that one.
Yeah.
It like that label will. There's a lot of those Japanese bands that seem to only exist on compilations. Like they would never do a split or an EP. And to have someone who collects it all and makes it way easier to listen to than like finding every compilation.
It's like, even as we're talking, I'm remembering bands that he could do, you know. In fact, I've been asked a couple of times by Jack, he's like, any other things that you can remember? Like, because he's always asking, you know, like, and I was like, Rinju Zange was one. I was like, you should do the Rinju Zange discography. That's like super.
I've never even heard them, but I'll buy it.
There's tons of stuff like Scumblast, Goza. There's like, it's endless, you know. Like there's a lot more to come. I think, you know, from this ballpark. So, yeah. There you go.
So that was my pick and my little tribute to FOAD. I like what they do. It can be a little much, but I like what they do.
I mean, you can't really hate on it too much because it's like authorized or semi-authorized. At least it's not some like dude in Europe, you know, pressing some garbage for $20, you know, badly.
I mean, yeah. It's
like
easy.
All these legs that are just terrible. So can't really hate on that. I will hate on the Gizm bootlegs. Hate them.
They might be coming out on Relapse at some point. Who knows?
Yeah, now they got the official releases. You don't have to worry about the bootlegs now.
Oh yeah.
We're waiting for that third LP, right? On vinyl.
Yeah.
All right, Dennis, what's your
All right.
pick?
More muscular Japanese hardcore.
Really deep tonight.
What can it be? What can it be?
Just gonna stick with some classics. Just gonna go with the name. What are you listening to? Pretty much.
As it says so on the tin.
Yeah, always listening to this band. This is my favorite Japanese hardcore band.
Oh wow!
And it's maybe a little bit of a hot take. This is my favorite album of theirs as well. It's definitely not. I mean, I know some people share the same opinion of this album, but usually it's a different album. But the
yeah.
The album Kaltbruching. It's just a beautiful. I mean, first of all, it's just a beautiful record. This is just so fucking cool. Yeah, and of course you've got the reverse on the back. I took this into Staples and blew up a giant poster of it, and we framed it and put it in the living room.
Nice.
Yeah, and this. I mean, this album's a little bit. This is where they started getting a little weird and going off the rails a little bit, not just going straight up hardcore thrash beat anymore. It got more experimental and not quite blasty, but like changing riffs every 2 seconds. The songs are just stuck together. They're like 40 seconds each. It just blasts by.
I mean, with me, when I think Gauze, that's the sound I think is like that album. Like that album is like, that's Gauze. It's not some other. You can't mistake that for another band.
It's not equalizing to start. Get out of here. Yeah, I mean, me too, but I think it's because of the timing. This was 1997-ish, I think. So that's probably the first real album that I really sat down and really listened to.
Right.
Like, I've had a few songs on mixtapes or something before getting this album. I mean, you couldn't really easily get Gauze shit in Columbus, Ohio. But yeah, I mean, they started going on. I just brought these for fun. They went to this. I mean, these all just built off of it. I think did Brian talk about this one?
I think so. When it came out, maybe. Yeah, I think that was on his like top 5 of whatever year that came out. Yeah.
Oh, and these are all just so cool. Like, I mean, this one, like, it just upped the ante even more. I know some people didn't like it, but it's just so absurd. The vocals are like, I mean, you can't help but like laugh, enjoy when you're listening to it, because it's just like, I mean, I don't know what the hell he's saying, but it's fun, and it's just brutal and fast, and it's just, I don't know. It's more just building off the 4th LP, so right. Love it all. I mean, I love all the early stuff too, all the comp stuff. It's ridiculous. This another band is super. They release so much stuff and just really consistent. I only saw them the one time and at Antinoch with Sosh. Thanks to Sosh for helping us.
That's a good place to see him.
Yeah, God, it was just incredible. I think 2006. So, I mean, I've talked about this before on message boards and stuff, but like, this album wasn't out yet. I forget what year this came out, but it was a few years at least later, and the whole place knew all the lyrics to those songs, and we were just like,
they've been playing them live, right, for like however many years. So,
and the rate, like how fast he's saying shit. I mean, people maybe probably know what he's saying. I don't know.
They think,
yeah, and it's just I'm like, how do they know these lyrics? But it was
staccato like vocal delivery, man. It's like it's crazy. It kind of reminds me of like old Italian hardcore too, where it's just like
exactly. Yeah, and I love that shit. It's just so chaotic, and that's what's so cool about it. It's just like out there, and just brutal in a different way, and just perfect band all the way around. All the way everything looks, and always the pictures of them and the like collage in there. My friend Katie's on the collage in this one. I'm always like jealous of that. I'm like, damn, that's so fucking cool. She's in that record. I think she went on the Zero's Gone tour with them or something. I don't know the exact story about why she's in there. I've never really asked her about it, but
she probably went to see him when she was here, right?
yeah. Were those pictures from any of their U.S. shows? I assumed it was his Zero's Gone tour in Japan, but I don't really know.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I guess I have no idea. I never really thought about it too hard, I guess. But
yeah, it's like my thoughts on Gauze are sort of all over the internet. I don't really want to repeat them on my positive show.
I don't know your thoughts. Let's hear them.
I don't like
I've heard some of them.
Oh, you don't like
you like this album too, and you didn't at first.
I mean, I kind of it never really sticks with me like Lip Cream does or Death Side. There's something off about it too. I like the earlier stuff.
I do like them, but I do agree with you that Lip Cream and Death Side and like a million other bands stick with me more. And that's not anti-Gauze sentiment. It's just that of all these classic bands, they would probably rank fairly low for me, which is still ranking really high in the great scheme of things. Like I still like them a lot, but it took longer to connect. And generally, if I'm going to pull out like a classic Japanese hardcore band, they would be a little lower down the list of priorities.
Yeah, that's normal. I think that's a normal opinion because they're just like a little out there, you know.
They're like a standalone band, right? Even like everything about them is like different to like every other like Japanese hardcore and of their era because they're old, man. They're like first wave Japanese, right? Going way back. Yeah, I kind of love the aesthetic and they're kind of like just very. It's like so like serious and like dedicated and like and so
they're really serious
and kind of like strict and kind of like like just down to like I don't know. There's something about that band that's not wild and rock and roll. It's almost like very regimented and kind of like I know it doesn't have like a rock and roll
little
vibe.
Militaristic. Yeah,
kind of. Yeah, it's just a different vibe to like most other.
Because their set's insane. It's like 50 songs just played in a row, and I was watching them, and as the song is ending, he's looking down at his set list of the next song, and they're fucking ready to go.
I mean, the whole thing, it's absolutely like jaw-dropping and incredible and amazing, but like, it just kind of like, I'm just not left with, I'm just like, wow, yeah, that was pretty incredible to watch. I've seen him live like a bunch of times, obviously, but like, I never find myself, doing the Alliance mosh.
Like, yeah, I mean, it's so fast and jerky. I mean, how can you dance to it? You can't. And the funny thing is too, like, I mean, I've never really, Google translated some lyrics or stuff, but I remember, from when we lived with Sash, him translating some of the lyrics, and some of them are just so fucking hilarious.
Well, it's the anti-vegetarian song and all that. That's
stick my dickhead in tofu, like that line.
Once you read those lyrics, you can't unremember that. Like that image will be in your head.
Every time you see it,
and it's just they're so serious about it. It's not a joke.
We really hate, and I'm not going to get too much into that. There might be like. Well, maybe we can talk about this like after the show. There's a little bit of like nationalism in there to me. Yeah. It stinks of nationalism a little bit, especially back in those on those old records. But I don't know. Who knows?
That's what I'd heard. It feels a little oi-ish, sort of, right?
Just a little bit like Japan is the best country in the world. Every other culture sucks. Kind of. It has that kind of vibe about it to me. But it's kind of sad. I mean, when they broke up, they just kind of broke up, right? And they did a whole set without Fugu the singer, right, at Earth Dome or Antioch, and he came on like for the last song, and then like, wow, there's the whole video's on YouTube now. You can watch it. So they played as a 3-piece with Shin singing.
Oh wow, crazy!
And then for the last, I think it was just 1 or 2 songs, like the singer came out and then like just made this really long speech about like why they were breaking up. Again, it's like it was just like being in a business meeting at like a Japanese corporation. She was just like making this very like dry speech about like why they were breaking up and blah blah blah, and people were crying and stuff. You could hear like
he's sick, right? It was like
I think or he wants to take care of his family, blah 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 blah. But like just the way that he felt like he had a responsibility to like make a speech about it, to like people who were
right. Very 90s hardcore. Funny thing too about that show at Antioch, that's where I first met Alex Moorhead.
There you go.
Tall.
You first met him in Japan?
Yeah. This
Wow.
tall, Aryan-looking man just like grabbed me. And he's like, "Hey!" He just zeroed in on us being like Americans, I guess, and we were just like, "What the fuck? Who are you?"
Was it at the show or a disc union?
Yeah, at the show.
I had the same experience, but it was at a disc union in Shibuya. Like, I got the on the shoulder.
Yeah, very similar. And then people knew of him in Cleveland. A lot of funny stories about him too. Just
he's here right now, actually, like in Japan.
Is he? Oh.
Yeah, with his kids. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I remember him posting about that. Cool. Well.
All right. I mean, Gauze or Gaze, to give it the correct Gaze, the correct.
Yeah, I tend to not say it that way a lot because people don't know what you're talking about.
And you don't want to, it's like, I remember I talked about Sam Hain once and I got told off for pronouncing it wrong.
Did you give me the Gaelic pronunciation?
Yes.
If you said it the other way, you just sound like a jerk.
Exactly.
So just say Sam Hain.
You say Gauze, you shouldn't say, Gaze. It's like, if you hear it's okay, but don't say it there.
Well, I'm glad we had the differing opinions there. A little discussion about the record instead of just, it's good. So
most people kind of know that they're not my favorite, but I can't deny how important. You know what? I have a favorite Gauze song, and every time I say what it is, people are just like, it's from Fresh Till Death. It's the slow song, Fashion Passion.
Oh yeah, that's great.
It has such a groove to it. It's like, do more of that.
Yeah, new camera stole that part
already.
We never released it. I don't think we never.
But it's so not like them because it's got such a kind
of iconic, man.
It's such a groove to it. But nobody really remembers that. You remembered it, but most people don't really remember that song. And they don't. I've never seen them play it live either. It will be a mood killer, right? It's too slow.
It's great. Oh my god, yeah, it's a great riff.
All right,
that's cool.
Right. Hazel.
All right. Dennis said he expected it to be a crusty episode.
He did say that, didn't he?
Some things for that theme. So we're gonna go with Kaltbruching Acideath Zygome Split LP from I think 2019. It's on Doom to Extinction and really good split. Kaltbruching Acideath, and I probably pronouncing that wrong. From Japan.
Yeah, from Japan. Yeah.
Heavy, chunky riff crust, no stadium vibes, not a lot of intricate metal riffs, real caveman basement crust. I really like it. And Zygome are then a little bit more on the atmospheric side. I think all the different members sing, and some of the vocals are kind of echoey sung vocals, and some are more like a gravelly thing, but you can kind of understand what they're saying. And there's a lot of parts on this that I think capture sort of an early Amoebics vibe really well. And that's not a comparison that I make lightly. Everybody trots that out for every crust band ever. But I think they actually get the atmosphere, which isn't something that a lot of bands are doing. So nice mix of crust subgenres. You've got a side with some guitar leads and stuff going on, and you've got a side with less of them. It's more chunky music. Good contrast, good selection to really nice, more recent crust bands. Unfortunately, I don't know if Kaltbruching Acideath are still with us, Zygome, unfortunately, or not. That's one of those white whale bands that I always really wanted to see when they were around and always missed. They were supposed to play a Skullfest that I wanted to catch them at, and then they dropped, and I didn't even go to the show they were supposed to play because I was like, I don't want to go now. And they played Philly a few times, but that was a summer that I was working in the mountains doing field stuff, hanging out with the bears and rattlesnakes, and couldn't travel to shows very much. So I missed them, and now it's unfortunately too late. But moral of the story being take a break from the bears and rattlesnakes and go get into trouble elsewhere. I guess that's the lesson I'm trying to take away from this.
That Japanese band, I think they're active still, I think.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. That to me, they're like a current active band. Jesse Conway would probably know and Sash too, more than me. But
yeah, I looked them up on Discogs before this, and they had like one other release that I wasn't familiar with. I think this was the most recent one, but definitely be keeping my eye out for more.
Where are Zygome from?
Canada, and I can't remember exactly where. I think like Eastern Canada.
Okay.
Somebody can fill in, hopefully. I think the members are in like a bunch of other bands now. I'm not sure of all the connections exactly.
Right.
A lot of good crusty music from Canada.
It took me way long. This is the other one that you were talking about, right?
Jesse doesn't like him.
Jesse doesn't like anything.
He doesn't like anything. He likes a lot of things.
He does.
Just not what we like.
Jesse,
love you, Jesse. Come back on soon. With Sash. Sash is here. Sash, Conway, plus someone else.
Be a great episode.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna hate everything that Jesse shows.
I like you, Jesse. You're a gem.
He's all right.
Yeah, he's a lovely lad. Lovely lad. He's just too young. That's his problem. Born in the wrong year. Too late. I'm having fun. My air conditioner just broke for a bit. It's back on again now. I was I was panicking a little bit then.
Getting scared for you.
Yeah, cockroaches flying out.
Thank you, Jesse.
Is it your birthday today, Matt?
It was 2 days ago.
Happy birthday. Cheers. 28? What?
37.
Gotta go low first, right?
Mike said he thought I was a young cruster as well.
I did. I thought you were like 17 when I first. But
that probably says something.
Are you with your parents?
Probably because I like Ferocious X or something. And he's like, oh, young.
I remember the first time I laid my eyes on you was in it was in this like the Punk and Destroy Shop 2, like the second store, and I was upstairs and you walked upstairs.
All right.
Our memories.
Our eyes met from across the room.
Dennis, Lane thought you were a lot younger than you are as well, so you're a youthful spirit.
Yeah.
It's a nice way of saying I'm an idiot.
I didn't. I said no such thing.
Babyface Berendts. Let's move
on. A whole
on.
pile of people I know have birthdays like in mid-late June, including you, Matt, and my sister, and like one of my bandmates, and a whole pile of my other friends. And a lot of them, when it's birthday, I just remember, I'm like, you guys are actually really young. Like, my one bandmate just had a birthday, and he turned 29, and I'm like, you guys are so young. Like, you're babies. It's great.
20s is young. I mean, I consider like anything in the 40, so the 38 to 47 range to be young, you know.
Okay, so I'm still young then.
I was just in the nursing home where I was the only person probably under 70. So anything under like 70 is young to me now.
Yeah. Everybody's young in their own way. All right. People didn't tune in to see us talking about age. Age. There's a band we haven't talked about yet on the show.
It happens to be your next pick.
Do we like the crust years or the rock and roll years, though, of age? Let's not go down that route.
Yeah, later age for sure.
Yeah, me too.
Later age.
Okay. My next pick is something I bought simply because the cover's pretty nice. Nice cover. And it said Mexican punk duo on the little sticker on the record. And I was like, don't know too many Mexican punk duos. Let's give it a go.
Let's learn about one.
Let's learn. Look and learn. Listen and learn. Or maybe I don't really know much about this band, to be honest, just apart from the fact that I like this record a lot. This is their second LP. It's the Cremalleras.
That's new to me.
Yeah, I figure, like, it's on Cintas, Pepe, and Thrilling Living, which is kind of a little bit of a bigger label. I
know of Cintas, Pepe.
Yeah, this is one of theirs. Mercado Negro, the second LP. They have a split with Heterophobia, who I talked about on this show before. They were like a kind of weird, like, it's like post-punk meets Mexican hardcore band. This is great.
Both of them played here in like 2019. They toured together.
Really? Oh, wow. This band are on tour in the UK at the moment. And so it's weird. I was like, I just bought this, and like everyone in the UK is like talking about them and how good they are live, and like, oh, you should go and see them when they come to your town, kind of thing. Yeah, interesting duo, like drums, guitar, vocals, no bass. It's not missed. I know, it's like, it's raw, it's lo-fi, it's almost no-fi, you know, it's like, it's pretty raw, trebly, but like pretty much all, like anything from Mexico, it's punk as fuck. It's like, it's just, you just feel it. It's so like real and energetic and passionate and raw and pogo. It's
got a vibe you don't get anywhere else.
You can't replicate this shit. It's real, you know. And you know, on the first listen, it's like, okay, that was good. I like that. Kind of nothing really stuck out. But when you listen to it a few more times, the vocals are really good. It's like, there is some kind of like, you know, let's not call it shouting, but you know, more aggressive style vocals. But within that, there's all these like little melodies, like these vocal melodies, like that are different on every song. So the songs like really start to kind of like stand out after a couple of listens. You know, there's like vocal hooks and drum hooks and stuff like that. But it's like super raw, like lo-fi Mexican punk, which is almost garagey at times. It's like so like raw. It's almost like garage punk at times. It's that fine line between like garage punk and kind of like primitive hardcore. You know what I mean? It's like, it's kind of like veers into both. Yeah.
You said it's a duo. Are they also a duo live? Like,
yes, yep. Like she sings and plays guitar, and the guy plays the drums. I kind of like to see him.
Yeah, they were really good.
It's great. It kind of took me by surprise, actually. I wasn't expecting it to be this good. I don't know why. It's like, I mean, duo, it can be tough, right, in a punk band, but it's totally works. It's great. Really good.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's like 12 or 13 minutes long, something like that.
Does it have that like quality sometimes when you get like a record from Mexico and it just feels like it's barely thicker than a flexi, and it's got like, it's dirty and like,
well, I guess like, isn't Thrilling Living, I think, is a US label, I think. Oh, look at that, check that. Beautiful.
Oh, amazing. I'm gonna check that out. Sounds
wow, that's like a myth. Wow, yeah. Actually, that's wild. Actually, I didn't look at that.
Take it back.
But yeah, it's, I guess, thrilling. It was mastered by Will Killingsworth, who
what isn't now
does have a lot of things, right? So it is really lo-fi, but it works. But I know what you mean. Yeah, it has got that kind of dusty vibe. You know,
love it.
I want to hear their first LP too, because I love this. Have you heard it, Hazel? The first one?
Yeah, I don't have any of their records. They and Heterophobia both took me by surprise. Like, I hadn't heard either of them yet, and just went to the show to check it out, and both were great, but haven't tracked down records by either.
Yeah, Heterophobia was a wild one. I talked about it before, but it's like Mexican punk with like very like post-punk kind of vocals over top of like very raw punk, and it kind of works really well, and good lyrics, and yeah. So I guess they did a split tape too. Yeah, good stuff. Cremalleras from Mexico. There you go.
All right.
What you got?
The term new wave of traditional heavy metal. I hate that term so much.
I was going to use that term later on. I'm not going to now.
Oh, please don't.
Thanks for the warning.
Honestly, I don't know. You know what it means, so it's fine. I don't know. For some, that term bugs me. This band could be considered part of that, but I think that's doing them a disservice, because I think a lot of those bands, there's almost a sort of cosplay kind of thing to it. They're like, we're a metal band. This band, they don't sound like they're, you know, faking the funk or anything. It's like they sound like this is what they were meant to do, The band is Drifter.
Drifter.
They're a two-piece from New York. That
Wow.
You know, I should have had this out earlier. I have their demo tape as well. I was going to include both in this. This is a 2-song 7-inch that came out last year, and they have a 4-song demo tape. That the first time I heard the tape, I heard it on some YouTube channel, and I got fooled. I thought it was like some old, like 1981, like new wave of British heavy metal record from the recording, like the way it sounded, to just everything about it that I have not heard from newer bands. But it also doesn't sound like they're just like trying to mimic it. It just sounds like that's what it's meant to be. Because I don't know if you've ever thought this about something. There's like an almost laid back quality to it. Like it's rocking.
A lot of like, Jesus, that's my voice again.
I hope it's not me.
It might be you.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Ah! It's not the input, it's the output. Like,
oh no.
Yes.
Okay.
It's fine now.
All right. Anyway, Drifter. They do this sort of like laid back kind of metal sound. It's pretty rocking, but it's still like, you know, there's power to it. It's not soft. And I would describe it, the best way I can describe it, they are a confident sounding band.
Gotcha.
They're a real confident sounding rocking band. It's drive at the speed limit metal. It's just like, it's real good. That's a good description. It's real good.
Is it
like,
good? No, it's real good.
Yeah. The replay value on these songs, it's fucking infinite. Like, especially on the 7-inch, there's 2 songs and they're about 6 minutes, and they're packed. There's barely any repeating stuff. It just takes you on a journey, and once the solos start, you're just strapped in. Just go for the ride. Like, I don't want to compare them to bands because I don't feel educated enough to compare them to them. But out of any newer metal bands, like, they're my favorite because they're so like damn genuine.
Right.
And also they seem to have like, there's like a slight sense of humor to it all. Maybe not in like a haha we're funny, because that's never funny, but like, I don't know, they don't take themselves too seriously. And also I watched a live video, and because they have like a full band for live shows, and one of the guitarists might be the tallest person on the face of the earth. Like, I don't know, check out a video. It's stunning.
You said they were.
I'm definitely gonna check it out.
He's got to be 11 feet tall. Like, his guitar is like a toy in his hand.
Wow,
it's insane.
It's funny you were saying about the kind of like laid back vibe. I mean, they're a current band, but I you know, a lot of like the original new wave British heavy metal bands did have that.
Yeah, that's what I think fooled me when I heard this, because bands now, they try to go for this real high energy, like, power thing.
And it's because it's like, it's just, I mean, it's still the 70s, right? You know? I mean, it's still the 70s. So most of these bands are people that kind of grew up with Wishbone Ash, right? And stuff like that. So, like, Iron Maiden were, like, totally influenced by, like, Wishbone Ash and all that 70s, more laid back rock. I was going to kind of mention this band. This is an old band, but like Bashful Annie.
I've seen people compare them. So
immediately I thought that maybe it sounds like because they've got like the kind of laid back, cool, like just Wishbone Ash vibe, you know.
I found the tape. This cover alone. The fox holding the
that's almost a little like, I don't know. It's like it's great. It's great.
Both of those covers you showed look cool, because the other one had like the hand with cards in it. Can you show that again?
Oh yeah.
Drifter, yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
That is
speaking of
cool.
that, when I ordered this, I got the special edition, so I can recreate the cover. I can play cards with the Drifter playing cards.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I think it's nice when like those bands are like a little bit understated. It works. Just that slightly kind of laid back, like 70s vibe. It just works real nice.
Yeah. And there are some bands that do that. I've only heard their first album. There's that band Freeways from Canada. They're more of like a softer version of that. But something about Drifter, like their main rhythm is that like dun, 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 like that kind of thing.
Nice.
And just constant riffs. And his vocals are really good. I said they were kind of like laid back earlier, but it still doesn't take away from the power of them. I don't know. I highly recommend them.
Yeah.
If you want a band doing an old school metal sound correctly in this day and age, because it doesn't even sound like they're trying. It just sounds like that's what they were meant to do.
Nice. Drifter, obviously taken from the Iron Maiden song of the same name. I put money on that.
Probably. Yeah, that sounds. I know you've probably said
I've mentioned them at like band practice and stuff before.
Yeah, I need to get back to checking that out. That a lot of good stuff today that I've not heard, so appreciate that. Well, I'll keep us on the metal train. Gonna go for some hashtag.
Jesus, that's a blast. Carry on. That's a blast from the past.
Yeah, definitely. Hashtag 1990 metal. This is from '88, but I'm gonna consider it 1990 metal. Yeah, Laws, Rocket, Annihilation Principle. This is really the only album of theirs that I'm into, but I mean, this cover is fucking amazing, of course. But something about this one, like, so 1990 metal, I can, like, what I call 1990 metal is like, there's like this little period of time after thrash metal around 86 to maybe like 91, where metal has a lot of down picking and chugging, but it's like the headbanging tempo. You know what I mean? And before metal started experimenting with all this weird ass shit, metal funk and new metal and all the weird shit they started doing in the early 90s. This is kind of like my favorite era of metal when it's done well. Kind of like the Master of Puppets thing. I mean, this is like the like the guitar sound on this is absurd. It's kind of like SOD guitar sound, very like very like super compressed, scooped mids guitars, and the vocals are kind of like high pitched and like melodic, kind of a little speed metal-y, which is kind of cool. And I don't know, yeah, it's just catchy and fun, headbanging heavy metal. They cover Dead Kennedy's Holiday in Cambodia, which is really weird sounding, but it's like kind of good and catchy to me. Not for everybody, but like if you're into like that kind of heavy metal, Master of Puppets stuff influenced by that, you might like it. I don't know. I dig this a lot.
I saw them once.
You did? In
the UK, and it was probably around the time that came out, or 1 year earlier. It was at Christmas on Earth 2. So the original Christmas on Earth was like Black Flag and Cron Gen and tons of and Vice Squad, and the Christmas on Earth 2 was the Cro-Mags and Megadeth, Voivod, but Voivod didn't play because they got denied at customs. And Overkill, Lars Rocket, and there's a couple of other bands tonight. I'm blanking on it now, but I was going to say they kind of remind me of Overkill, like a little bit.
Yeah, Overkill, very similar. They have a couple 1990 albums, like Under Your Influence and Years of Decay. Like I saw them on the Years of Decay tour. I used to love overkill. I mean, they were like Metallica Light or whatever. I'm pretty sure the guitar player wanted to be James Hetfield, but yeah.
But they do the punk cover too, right? They do the DOA like "Fuck You" cover, like just like Lars Rocket did the like Dead Kennedys cover. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Those kind of bands listened to punk and stuff. You know, it was kind of a different thing at that point. You know, it was a good influence they had, like kind of like good political lyrics. You know, at the time, or at least lefty political lyrics. Good is questionable, I guess, but a lot of those bands were like that.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that kind of, as soon as I saw it, it's like, God, that took me straight back to like that show. It was in Leeds, and it was kind of miserable actually. Like, you can look it up online. It was like a bit of a nightmare. Like it was like one of those gigs that like people were super stoked about it, and on the day it kind of like fell flat. For various little different reasons, like they didn't sell beer in the hall, which in England, metal heads, no beer in the hall locked in is a recipe for a good time, you know. Nuclear Assault played too. Like, there you go.
That was they were definitely one of my favorites in high school. It was probably Handle with Care or Survive era.
I remember Danny Leaker like stage diving to the Chromax. Yeah.
His hairy legs in your face.
Yes. Another reason why that gig. Right. Lars Rocket. There you go. Beautiful.
Hashtag 1990 metal.
Yeah, I want to do a zine about 1990 metal. I've been throwing it around for a while, but
that era, that time period is like, to me, that's just Dennis metal. That's like
right. Pretty much. That's my shit there. Good couple Sepultura albums in that era. All the down picking you could ever need.
All right, Hazel, what's your next pick?
All right, so we can take a trip to Switzerland.
Oh.
For the Bloodstar self-titled. Kind of an interesting band. So they get compared to countrymen like Hellhammer and stuff a fair bit. They're kind of like that, but gloomier and more industrial. So they have like synthesizers, and they've got like a drum machine, which took me a little bit of getting used to. I'm not like the biggest, most knowledgeable industrial fan, so it's a little bit on the like industrial side of what I like, but I think it really works. So it sounds a little bit thrashy. It's not a crust record, but it does also fit in. Like you could think of this as kind of an extension of what bands like Zygome were going for. There's elements of it too that remind me of another band that's one of my favorites that's been discussed on here before, which is Born Dead Icons. So some of the songs on here are like, they've got that kind of driving, gloomy, like really atmospheric, but still like still going thing that Born Dead Icons do really, really well. It's also kind of like unusual because there's a variety of tempos, and like in the middle of it, you've got a couple of like synth instrumentals. You've got like a Goblin cover.
Wow.
Lots of different vibes on this. You've got sort of like long, like slower, epic songs. You've got some like faster rockers, but really good variety on here, and there's really good memorable songs that all stick out from each other, all get stuck in your head. This is one that I've been like listening to a lot over the last year, like from fall to now. It's been in like pretty constant rotation, so it's a good one to talk about. Captures a lot of different vibes and a lot of different things about music that I like. Got good atmosphere. The cover is really cool. Like it's this kind of spacey looking, dramatic blue and red landscape with that cool moon and everything on there. Neat looking record, neat sounding record. And mine came with this like promo insert. Look at that.
Wow. Who wrote that? Wow.
Yeah, that's a cool looking record.
Somebody like posted this on your Discord like a while ago. I think that's how I first found this band. Somebody like posted on their way back when I was in grad school, and I like bookmarked the YouTube video and came back to it all these years later. So you're partially responsible for this.
It's cool you have that album. I'd love to have that. That band's fucking cool.
I accidentally got an extra copy, so that's within the realm of possibility.
Let me know your price.
That's a good copy.
Wow, that's a new one. I've not heard of that before.
When was that? Like, when did that come out?
I think like 1990 or 1987, 1988, like somewhere late 80s.
Late 80s, early 90s.
But it's not 1990 metal.
I don't know, Dennis, opinions?
I don't think so. That sounds like a Max recommendation. Maybe Max from Boston. That's like a band that he would probably be really into. I'd imagine. But yeah, not 1990 metal.
Bloodstar. I'm yeah.
Bloodstar, all one word as opposed to Bloodstar, 2 words. Found that the hard way looking for YouTube videos. Like, wait a second, this is a different band. They're also really good, but very different.
Yeah, definitely. I love the 2-word band as well. The font choice too on that, like that's like the font or whatever. Like, so cool.
The font.
You see that on First National Bank. It just sticks out when I see it because hardcore bands and some certain bands of a certain era will use it, but then you see it on a bank, and you're like, what the fuck? That's the font.
Wait.
Yes.
Do we hear the truck?
It's him or her. It's the garbage truck. Yes. Right. It's on time today.
All right.
I don't know.
Have a listen.
I always say he's late or he's on time. I don't actually know what time he's supposed to be by. I always think it's like around 12:30 my time, and it's 12:30. So
I mean, he's on time.
He's on time.
Yeah. Good work.
I'm scared to show my next pick after Matt's.
It's not the music. It's just that term.
I can show this without using those words.
Use those words. Don't listen to me. Use those words.
It's the build-up. Okay. It's summer's here. We're all in. I almost said the name of the band without meaning to. I said the name of the band without meaning to. I didn't. I almost did. It's summer's here. We're in high spirits.
Oh, okay.
I said the name of the band.
They're like the one other band out of the new wave that I'm into.
I don't know if this band even fits into that. It's to me, it's like fucking Journey or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like anyway. They have a lot of
Speedwagon meets Iron Maiden. Right?
That's actually exactly what I wrote in my notes.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Almost. Pretty close. I was like, what did I say? I was like, yeah, it's like if Journey were like a speed or were a power metal band or something like that. It's like, I know. Anyway, they have a lot of records, and I don't even know if this is the best one. I think I have them all except the one that came out last year. But this was the one I was listening to last night and having a really good time alone with this record. But high spirits, hard to stop. It's hard to stop listening to this band. It really is.
Hey, let's get Jesse's opinion on it.
No, he doesn't deserve it.
Jesse's not a high spirits fan.
Of course he's not. He likes some other band that are similar but worse. That's why like Haunt. Actually, I kind of like Haunt, but they anyway, let's not talk about Haunt. High Spirits, one-man band, right?
Yeah.
Back in Chicago, I think. I know it's pop metal, really. It's pop music.
It's really good pop music, just through a metal filter.
It's Journey. It's like early Journey, REO Speedwagon, but amped up a little bit. It's more heavy metal than Journey, but it's basically Journey meets heavy metal, from the not 90s, like the 80s. It's 80s. This is 80s, very 80s. All their records kind of look very 80s too. 80s vibe. So I don't know. The funny thing that I just laughed because they directly lifted 2 song titles from Rainbow's Down to Earth album. It's shamelessly lifted Since You've Been Gone and All Night Long, I'd say. Those are two like really, really famous like pop metal songs, and they just like straight up like stole them. It's kind of funny. I mean, they didn't cover the song, but it's just funny that they just I don't know used.
I love the like sad boy lyrics with like uplifting metal mixed together. It's just so fucking good.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I was going to mention that. Yeah, it's funny. It's very like it's almost like evangelical music. It's I don't know, man. It's like I feel like he's wearing like a white jumpsuit, making stuff.
Mike, have you ever seen? Because I've seen them live a few times.
How are they?
They all wear white pants and black shirts.
I knew it. You can just tell.
They're incredible live. They're so good.
I mean, you got to be a maniac to wear white pants. What the fuck? Like, are they dirty? Did you notice if their pants were dirty? Or
Absolutely not. This is a clean band. A clean band.
Fuck. Respect.
Yeah, I know, man. This is like, it's so much fun. It's so much fun to listen to, It's like driving down the highway in your car from the 70s with the AM radio playing. Like
driving at full power.
How can you not like this? I don't know. I think Luke is a big fan of this band too, I think.
There's someone in the chat we can ask how you don't like it.
I get it. Actually, there is one song on this particular record that is kind of bad. It kind of sounds like a Bouncing Souls ballad or something. It's like,
weird.
Yeah.
You know what's weird about them though? Like, because I mean, you have all the records except the newest one.
Except the newest one, yeah.
You notice that like as they go on, like the first LP, Another Night.
Yes, that's it.
The quality gets more demo-like as the band goes on. I don't know what that like. It sounds very full in that first LP. As it goes on, it sounds more and more like it's just a one-man demo band. But the songs are still really good.
I like Motivator a lot. Actually, that could be my favorite. With the playing,
it's very motivating.
It is. Yeah. Yes, you do. I know it's great. It's great band. I feel like I should be wearing wearing a white kimono and sipping a tasty cocktail when I was listening to this last night. I wasn't, but that's.
I think they're fantastic.
They're amazing.
I like everything they've done.
It's like almost every song could have been like a hit single in like 1980. Pick a year, I don't know. Like it just like it's so catchy and memorable.
He knows how to write a song.
He does.
Yeah.
What bands was he in? Was he in? Like, was he like a drummer in some other band?
He was in because Adam's band just played with one of his other bands recently in New York. What was that, like Super Christ or something?
I actually kind of looked it up, but I thought I'm not going to kind of
Super Christ.
I think that's the name. I might be wrong.
He is evangelical. I knew it.
He was in Knock Mystium for a bit.
He was. I saw that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That might be what I'm thinking of.
He also has a solo thing. Actually, no, that's who they played with. He just has a solo thing called Professor Black.
It's Chris Black's name. It's Chris Black. Right?
Yeah. And that's who they played with.
Okay.
He's also writing a Bathory book.
Wow.
Yeah.
What? Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I get like Supertramp vibes off this record too. It doesn't sound anything like Supertramp, but it just kind of has that vibe, that like 70s AM radio, feel good music,
I never thought Superchunk with High Spirits, but I mean, I like Superchunk, so.
Not Superchunk, Supertramp.
Oh, Supertramp.
Yeah. REO Speedwagon, Supertramp. It's just like cocaine on the highway music, I don't know. So.
I like Supertramp.
Me too.
Yeah,
it's got that
like
laid back quality.
This classic rock station I listen to that's not based in Pittsburgh. It's based in like the smaller cities down the valley from me. Very little talking, a lot of like deep cut 70s rock. That's what it sounds like it would fit in with to me.
Yeah.
And that's complimentary. I have the station on like all the time.
It's kind of like Red Cross, that era of Red Cross too. Like Phase Shifter, It doesn't sound like that, but it has that same 70s AM radio rock vibe. Anyway, High Spirits.
80s gold. They used to call it 80s gold, right? Those comps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you have to be a little older to like this. Maybe not. Everyone likes this band. Everyone likes High Spirits, right?
Everyone likes High Spirits.
Everyone likes Spirits. On
You
this,
should. I mean, how can you not?
this is not again on this panel.
The person who introduced me to High Spirits is like a total diabolical hater. So even he liked them. So
dude, I send them to people at work, just like randos at work. Like, yeah, check this band out, you'll love it. You know, like it's just the people's music, man.
It's blue collar metal. Anyway, let's move on. Matt,
white pants metal.
Yes.
All right. I'm going to say some controversial words.
Oh.
Get the show shut down.
Hasn't already.
Screamo.
Oh, we've had some of that on.
Okay. All right. Maybe this 10-inch records.
One more time.
10-inch records.
10-inch screamo record.
Yeah. The Netherlands. I don't know. Okay. Well, it's Shikari.
Shikari.
Robot Wars.
Shikari is a Japanese word. I forgot what it means. Jesse,
Yeah.
what does Shikari mean?
But they're not Japanese.
They're not.
No, they're Dutch. This, I said screamo, but that might be they get lumped into that scene. This is from 2000. It's more. It's the riffing. The riffing is very like more like bands like Union of Uranus or like, and then they get lumped in with those bands like Acme and Sistral.
Okay.
That kind of stuff.
Jesus, it's the Bremen sound.
Yes.
Right.
They get with that a lot, but then they would do splits with like some of the European screamo bands in the 2000s.
Okay.
But this is almost comically intense. Like, it is one of the most intense records I have from the very start. The drums are mainly blasting the entire time. There's a few slow down parts, but it almost sounds like they're trying to catch their breath. And like the guitars have this almost like swarm of bees tone to them. And the riffs are they almost get into like a real menacing black metal kind of like vibe to it. The vocals sound like this sort of panicked howl from like an explosion. Like it's ridiculous. I don't know, the whole album has a vibe of like being chased by some awful force. And like any slowdowns as you thought they'd lost you, and then it picks back up. But to really make it part of its time period and the scene it was part of, it comes with this booklet that has like meanings for every song. It has the lyrics and then it has what that means. I realized in mine, it came with a note that said, Shikari split up last week.
Love, comma.
Are there sad faces on there?
They are
Yes. A lot of the stuff that I liked in high school, I don't like anymore. But this record has survived every purge.
Okay.
Like the riffs have been stuck in my head since like 10th grade. It's so ridiculously intense that and it's weird because like the bands they've done splits with some like screamo bands like it's like Louise Cypher, and then Phoenix Bodies, bands like that. But then they did a split with Sea and Red, and
I thought they had, yeah.
And a split with some Brazilian like crusty D-beat band that I can't remember the name of right now. So it's they're like chameleons. They just the whole spectrum. But I don't know, for that I love this like that that kind of riffing that this band does, of the bands I mentioned earlier, like that, it's melodic, but it's that real menacing kind of like tremolo picking riffs that I'm a sucker for. And if you add it over just super intense hardcore, throw in a couple breakdowns, I'm a fan. And this is like the perfect version of that.
Nice.
The big, huge recording, I imagine, similar to like Acme.
It's super like just bassy and pummeling. But all the songs are, about like personal things or politics, but the title track is about the TV show Robot Wars. And then they end the song by just screaming their own band name a bunch. So
wow.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's how I remember them from the split with
Seeing Red split.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Dennis.
All right. We were talking about sad boy music a little bit. I've got some sad girl music. So the Big Eyes demo 7-inch, I think. With this, like, I mean, yeah, this band's pretty prolific as well, and they have a bunch of albums now. And I usually like a few songs on each album a lot, but like I love this. This is like so freaking good. It's a little different, I think, too, maybe than the other stuff for some reason. I can't really put my finger on it. I mean, I think probably like, there's probably some inevitable Joan Jett comparisons that used to happen or something. It's not like it sounds like Joan Jett, but it's just got like that quality. It's just really done really well. And it does have that like bummer vibe also. But yeah, just all hits on this 7-inch. I only have 2 of their records. The other stuff I just kind of listened to online, but I like this record a lot too. Back from the Moon.
That one's really good.
My Grave Mistake. Yeah, this is so good. Definitely, I would say nothing else really sounds like this one. It's like a really big production, more upbeat than most of their stuff, I think.
I've only heard that one in the demo.
What's that?
I've only heard that one in the demo.
Yeah, to me, these are the 2 best things, and I mean,
wow, okay. I have
my opinion, but
I have not heard them. I have all 4 LPs.
Oh, do you?
I'm a big fan. Yeah.
Great band.
They're great. Yeah, to me, it's like punky power pop. It has a bit of that like Swedish vibe, like Terrible Feelings. That band on Vanna Inget. Kind of, it's like dark punky power pop.
And she's like Kate Eldridge, I think's her name. That's probably, I feel like it's maybe like her main project. She's kind of the main force behind it.
Yeah, it seems like
there's been like a different lineup on every record.
I was going to say there's been different members coming in and out, right? Yeah.
Right, but yeah, great guitars, and I love the latest one. I've been listening to that. I forget the one she's got the jacket on or whatever. A lot of nice harmonies on there. I feel like some good Thin Lizzy influence in there. Really well done. Just cool stuff. But yeah, I love the shit out of this. It's just nice. I listen to it a lot.
Great band.
Yeah.
I caught them in a basement a few years ago, and seeing the 2 guitar players just before they even started their set, just at setting up and everything, just riffing back and forth, playing all kinds of different stuff. They had played some like Blue Oyster Cult riffs and other things that I don't know what they were. Could have been improvised, but they seemed to be having so much fun and were so like dialed into what each other were doing and made it all look so effortless. It was really fun. Great set. Really awesome basement band. Like I know that's not usually where they play, so it felt like a really lucky time.
I was about to say that's wild you saw them in the basement because I thought they were like past that point now.
Yeah, the other time they played in Pittsburgh while I lived here, they played at like Howlers, which is a like music bar, like real venue type place that I don't think exists anymore. I think it got coronaed, but much bigger space, much more like professional. So
I think they
random basement show was real cool.
they toured like opening for Against Me like a few years ago. So I mean, they're
Wow.
yeah, that's cool. You saw a Basement would be really cool to see them in.
I'd love to see him. I play those records to death, and I know it's like I don't really buy like 7-inch singles. That's my problem. So, but yeah, I'd love to hear those songs for sure.
Yeah, they're online. You know.
Yeah.
But this is Analog Attack.
Yeah, but you know,
I can do it in my own free time.
Okay.
It's kind of odd. I saw them once at Ace of Cups, which is kind of like a one of the better mid-level music bars in Columbus. And it was just such a bummer vibe. It was just kind of exactly, I guess, what makes sense would have happened. It was kind of disappointing a little bit because it was almost like it just felt like they had been on tour for too long and they wanted to get it over with. Like short set, didn't say much, got up and played. I don't know, if it was me or that's actually what happened, but that's just how I felt. I'd like to see him again sometime. Yeah, it was a bummer the time I saw him.
Yeah, it can happen, right? I guess. But great band. Great band. All right, Hazel, what's your next pick?
All right, we're going back to hometown adjacent music here. Westchester, Pennsylvania is a town that's a little to the west and south of Philly, so slightly different place. And it had its own punk scene in the 90s. Some of the I think one of the more well-known bands from there would be like 2.5 Children Incorporated. There were some other ones too, and it's a little before my time mostly. But when I started getting into punk, I listened to college radio a lot, and a lot of these bands from the 90s that were local or semi-local were still getting played really regularly. So this is one that I picked up from there that became a favorite of mine that a lot of time when I mention it, people have no idea what it is. It is the Abreacts Fruit of the Womb 7-inch. They also did an LP, which I sadly do not have. Came out in early 90s. So this came out like almost a decade before I started listening to punk music, but still present in the area. And the members, I think, were quite young when this came out. There's hardly any information about them online, but I found some like random Facebook posts with pictures and people reminiscing on like practicing in a parent's garage, that sort of thing. And I don't know what most of them ended up doing after this, but the singer Eleanor was in a band called Red Devil, who I did see a whole bunch of times in Philly. And what it is really good, kind of dark, melodic punk. Pure punk, not a hardcore band, not a crust band, not metal, like just good, straightforward. The songs are melodic, but not in like a super poppy way. And it gets compared to Crass Records stuff a lot. Sort of. I think it's not a perfect comparison, but they do have some similarities to some bands of that era. I think the one that sounds like most to me would be Sofa Head. Similar,
okay.
Catchy, melodic, really nice like sung vocals that complement the music well. And the vocals are one of the things that I really like about this too, because Eleanor sings in this like slightly lower register. A lot of the bands with sung vocals, especially with female vocals, they sing like a little higher. But her voice is a little lower, and it's sort of chant-like in places. Like she does really cool melodic stuff with it, but it's not overwhelming the music in places, and it blends really nicely with the other instruments in a way that makes it sort of dirgy and kind of sad sounding. The lyrics in this are mostly like sad boy bangers, a lot of heartbreak anthems and things like that. Really well done. Been a favorite of mine for a while, not a band that gets a lot of attention, so it seemed like a good time to talk about it. And I don't know how difficult or easy this is to find. I've never seen one in the wild. I bought this off Discogs a while back. There's no copies of the LP for sale, otherwise I would get one. But it's not an expensive record, so if you do come across it, it's probably really easy. And this one is on YouTube. The LP isn't that I've found. So check it out if you like the sound of it. It's sort of an underrated, like forgotten gem.
When you said Sofa Head, I thought, okay.
Yeah,
like,
Sofa Head and Dan. Like
that Sofa Head, Dan, and the Joyce McKinney Experience, who are from England also, and the same female vocal bands that have been kind of forgotten a bit, I will say. If it sounds anything like any of those bands, I'm all in.
Yeah, I'll check that out. It's funny, I looked like they're under Discogs, that record, it's under the style of psychedelic rock.
That happens sometimes, man. It's like, what label did that come out, Hazel? Did you say?
It's on the like. Let me check. It's Criminal Coffee Chaos Records, which on
That's
Discogs
amazing.
this is the only record that it was, so it's probably like some
brilliant.
band member or friend's label.
Yeah.
The cover's a bunch of different colors, so mine is yellow, but the pictures of it online come in several different ones. It's got a really strong, like, hand-drawn and photocopied vibe. So they probably just like went to the Kinko's and photocopied it on 4 different colors.
Nice. Abreacts.
And mine is green too, which is cool.
I'm going to finish off with something kind of overlooked or unknown or a bit obscure. We like a lot of countries get featured on this show, maybe rightly so, like Japan, Mexico, Italy, Sweden, Finland, Brazil. Norway, not so much.
That's true. Dennis was represented the last time he was on.
Yeah, I think like the Norwegian punk and hardcore from like the mid to late 80s is some of the best like stuff that's ever been committed to wax, to use a technical term. But I always feel like I've kind of talked about this record when I talked about another record from Norway that came out in the same year. And I'm going to use kind of almost exactly the same way to describe it because it's so similar. So the record I talked about before was So Much Hate, How We Feel, which came out in 1987 on Export Platter, which is Gunnar from So Much Hate's label. This record came out in 1987 as well, and it kind of sounds almost exactly the same. It's funny. I'll show the record. It's this one. It's Data Morgana or Data Morgana. Look at that beautiful looking record. Self-released, I think, on Data Disquette. It's funny because when we were talking about Norwegian hardcore in that episode, Scoots was on the show and we were kind of throwing some names around, like shouting out names. So Much Hate. I was talking about So Much Hate, and it's like Banlist came out, and Stank Dora, and Psychic Terror, and Kafka Process. All those bands were kind of shouting out names, and Scoots shouted out Data Morgana, and I was like, oh, God, yeah, I kind of remember that band being mentioned, but I'd never really heard them. And literally, like a week later, I was in Disc Union, and this was like right in there. I was like, Data Morgana. I remember that from like last week's show, or whatever. So I bought it. But yeah, if you're kind of familiar with So Much Hate, it sounds pretty much exactly like So Much Hate. What does So Much Hate sound like? Jesus, it's hardcore, but it's a little bit metallic. Guitar player is fucking amazing.
Really cool riffing.
Cool riffing, but like super melodic too.
Yeah.
And big, and it kind of takes a little bit from like, I was kind of on a bit of a downer about like late 80s US hardcore at the beginning of the show, but like, I feel like, late era Government Issue and like Verbal Assault, when these bands kind of got a bit more rocky, but still hardcore punk. This is really desperate sounding vocals. Like there's a kind of real desperation in the vocal delivery. I was curious. It's like, man, this band sounds like So Much Hate. Like, is it So Much Hate? Like, with like one different member or something? And it isn't. But there's a definite lineage in this band. So one of the guys played in Disorder. I don't know if you remember that. Disorder lived in Norway in the late 80s, and one of the guys from this band was in Disorder for a while. And then another guy in this band like played with the guitarist from So Much Hate in another band. There's some like lineage there, and it sounds so much like So Much Hate. It's so good. If you can find this record and you love like that late 80s era of Norwegian hardcore, don't leave it in the shop.
Yeah, I've actually not heard that. I need to check that out because I'm a big fan of all that stuff too.
It's like right in there with like, keep saying it, Kafka Process, So Much Hate. It's just exactly like that. Exactly. They do a Banalist cover too. Like the last song is a Banalist cover.
Nice.
Which Banalist was kind of different vibe, but yeah, I know it's a bit obscure. It's probably a bit hard to get, but yeah, I was kind of happy to get this one. There's not much.
I feel like I said it the last time I was on, like Norwegian hardcore is such a blind spot for me.
Well, there's not that much of it. That's the thing, right? There's only just
but even like, there's like the bands that everyone talks like So Much Hate and Banalist are like the two that I always hear about. I've never heard one song from any of them. I know I could just go online and check them out. I don't know. Just something Norwegian hardcore. I can't even speak on anything about it.
To me, I think there's like a real like similarity, like to like some of the Japanese hardcore, and there's definitely like a heavy rock influence in there, and some kind of metal in there. Like they don't sound exactly the same, but it's big. It's big, like kind of adult. It's like it's not basic or like lo-fi. It's kind of big sounding rocking, but it's not rock and roll. But I know it's very
big sounding hardcore.
It's very anthemic and like uplifting and urgent and very good musicianship. I don't know. So yeah,
I like all those things. So.
I think this is on YouTube. You can check it out on YouTube.
Mike, what's your thoughts on the band that has a lot of people with split opinions on Life But How to Live It?
Love them.
Oh, good.
Wasn't the guitarist in that band too? Barr isn't that guitarist? Or is it a different guy? It's the.
I think that was a different guy. Like I think we talked about it a little bit. Like that dude Barr was like a guitar teacher or something. But
yeah, so
those guitars are just off the wall bonkers.
Yeah.
You know?
I think one of the guys from this band was in. There's a band called 220, which is like a more modern Norwegian hardcore band, and Captain Not Responsible.
Love that record, man.
The guy from this band was in that band as well. So, yeah, it's kind of confusing. But,
okay, yeah, that's 7-inch Heart First, I think. It's so funny.
Heart First. Flo was the man who was like Angst. Is another one. The Angst singles, who did a split single with Idora from Japan. The Angst Idora split single, all like top tier stuff that's kind of been forgotten.
$3 banger.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's my last pick.
Yeah, I needed that amazing bandless discography thing. I sold the original 7-inch recently because I have that. I'm just, I'm gonna listen to that. It's got the tape on it, and it sounds incredible. It's put together really well. I don't feel bad about it.
That's Flo did that too, right? On the Norwegian leather. That's his Flo from Heartful.
Yeah. Really
Castro, I bought that Castro record recently, actually, and I've been meaning to talk about it.
That's the singer.
It's the singer of Life But How to Live It. It's the singer, yeah. But it's one of those records that I'm not confident enough to talk about, so it's been like sitting in the pile for when I'm ready to try and explain what it is.
I've only heard a couple songs, I think, of that.
All right, Matt, what's your last pick?
All right. Maybe it's a bit of a faux pas to wear the shirts of a record you're going to show. This is a record of theirs that I actually don't see a lot of people talk about.
Ooh.
Maybe it's because they went under a different name for this one. It was it's Selfish. Like has no vacant time. Like what an underappreciated record, I think. For people who say they like Japanese hardcore, the best non-Japanese band to do that style. Like I don't know, this record's insane. They nailed every little like trope or just like I don't know, but it's all done so well. They've got all the correct like gang vocals. They have the solos. They have weird, not singing, but just like yelling with some sort of notes.
He also like sings in a Japanese accent, which is quite.
Yes, I was listening to this with my girlfriend the other night, and she doesn't listen to this kind of stuff at all. And she was like, "That's not English, is it?" And I'm like, "Well, the lyrics are in English,
Well,
but he's Finnish." But yeah, it's done. He does that like, he ends every word with like that. Yeah, like
it's just directly inspired by Ishia. It's like totally his vocal style.
Absolutely, everything about this.
Finnish man singing in English in a Japanese accent.
Yes. But it's done lovingly. It's like they're not trying to hide the fact that they're
pretty clear
doing that. It's a complete like tribute to that sound, but I think it's done. They're like the best at it.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah, no, they're kind of responsible for other bands attempting that too.
Other bands try it and they can't do it. They did it, and it's not. It's more than just the riffs. It's more than doing the vocals like that. There's all these little things to do a perfect. It's not a parody, but like the best parodies out there, you find the little details of things.
Yeah, it's tricky, right? I think that's their best record, though.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I think it is. I think that's a band that got better and better and better and better.
Yeah, that record is so well studied, like all the little flourishes and stuff. I almost pulled that one too.
Oh, yeah?
It's
fantastic.
Really?
I remember when it came out, we were talking about it because you have a story about them.
I guess, yeah. They played my parents' house for my high school graduation in 2005. So when we were like hanging out, one of the first times that we were hanging out at a show after I started going to shows and stuff in Athens, we were talking about that record, and I mentioned that because like everybody in Philly knows about that. They still talk about it when I go back, and so I just like think of it as this like totally normal anecdote. We were talking about Selfish. I'm like, oh yeah, they played my high school graduation party, and you like fell out of your chair, and I was like, oh, I guess it is kind of like a weird story, isn't it?
That's pretty wild, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they played after Hellshock, and I felt bad for them because like a lot of people left.
Really?
They were touring together, and Selfish were headlining, and like the show was great top to bottom, but I did feel bad because that basement was like so packed for Hellshock, and everybody was going nuts, and it was deserved. But then it sort of emptied out for Selfish, and they had like a much smaller crowd with less energy. It was unfortunate.
It's funny though, because like that's an amazing story. But like Selfish kind of started off as like a Doom copy band, right? In the beginning.
Right.
Yeah, I wonder how did that like just kick in that they?
Oh, we're tired of this now. Let's do something else. I know. But I don't know.
It's a good choice.
Yeah. I guess it's a logical progression. I don't know.
But there's a lot of bands that say they're doing like a Japanese hardcore inspired sound, but no band has nailed it like them. I mean, if you didn't know, you could be fooled. Yeah.
They'll get like one or two of the elements right, but not the whole package.
Yeah, they got the whole package on that one. That record, even, like just the weird cover. They weren't afraid to be really weird with it.
Hey, come on, I'm telling you, man. I mean, I did mention it, but it totally does go back to like this paint box and just weird and like psychedelic and like rock hard rocking.
Yeah, like just some dragonflies.
I was hyped on that cover with like the cattails and all the marshmallows and everything.
That's a Hazel cover.
That's great.
Yeah, that one. I'm glad they nailed the recording on that one too, because for me, like Burning Sensation, it was like such an anticipated record for me. It's really good, but there's something weird about the recording on it that it didn't turn out real well. And I remember heard some stories about why that happened. One of the label bosses didn't want to put more money into it or whatever, and it just didn't quite get there. And that was an Our House recording.
I was going to say that was an Our House thing, right?
Yeah, because I just thought they're recording in Our House, it's going to be fucking perfect. And then you're like, wait, what the fuck? It
got screwed up maybe later, right? Maybe it was okay in the beginning, but then like something happened in the next process after the tapes left Our House.
But like this one, you look at the back, it was like recorded in 2008. It didn't come out till like 2013. So that took a minute. But also, like the recording is cool. The energy on it is like through the roof. And it
has that quality that Japanese hardcore bands had
Yeah,
That
that's the
very,
thing
like,
they nailed that other bands can. Like, I don't know how they did that.
it's like a natural kind of energy that just comes out in the songs and stuff.
It's that, like, they're all very, very good at their instruments, but they're like, it sounds like they're gonna like explode. Like, they are just playing with so much just ferocity. And I think also, like, with the way they do those gang vocals, they do those like trade-offs like real fast. It's things like that just it's an exhausting album, but in a good way.
Yeah, that's kind of undeniable. Even though, like, I have some like criticisms about it, it's undeniably good. That record especially.
Yeah.
I just when I'm sat here, I keep thinking of Ishia. You know, like, it's so similar. Like, the vocals.
It is.
Similar.
Yeah, it's a tribute. Yeah, it's a well-studied tribute, and there's a lot of funny, like, stories we used to talk about too, about, you know, how Otto was supposedly on his shit list and all this stuff that, you know.
Well, we can go into that after the show.
Right?
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
I think he was accused of doing all the Death Side bootlegs and stuff, right?
Right. And when they stayed at my house, I asked him about it too. And he's like, "No, I didn't fucking do it. I did not do it."
I feel like I got to start screening the records I pick. Like, I'm bringing up controversies.
No, it's great. It's out there. It's not something that everybody knows about this stuff. Yeah.
And they had, like, live, I feel like they even had a similar quality to the Japanese bands too, where they almost needed, or they were made for a huge sound system. So when they played in America, sometimes they sounded a little weird when they played, like, a little house, like they played the Legion of Doom. It was fine there because that's kind of like a small room, and it felt really powerful. But they played this big, I think, I forget in Cincinnati what it was called. It was like the laundromat place, which was just this huge, acoustically terrible room, you know, with tile and stuff. And they sounded a little weird in there. But to me, that felt similar to a lot of how the Japanese bands would be.
It's like they don't have that amazing Japanese live house sound, you know. It's like it doesn't make a difference, right? I felt like Warhead just like plowed right straight through all that though when they went to Japan. It's like when they went to the US, sorry. Just like they didn't seem to affect them very much.
No, they were just legit scary. I mean, it was just, I tell this story all the time because it's so fucking funny when they played, because, you know, Total Fury and these other bands that were like funny, goofy guys came before them. And then they came, and the show in Pittsburgh in particular that I saw, some guy came up to him, put his arm around the singer, and the dude just like punched him and like screamed in the mic in his face. And I was like, yeah, this is not that kind of thing.
This is not Total Fury. What? That is Total Fury, but like in a different
That is Total Fury.
Oh man, yeah.
Warhead's scary, dude.
Nice.
Yeah, that
Shaved
same show,
eyebrows.
same tour hit Philly like the day afterward, I think, and one of them was like throwing up before their set.
I'll be
But
Jim
it
the
still did
singer.
it. You couldn't tell, but everybody was talking about it afterwards. They're like, "Oh my god, he was throwing up, and then he just did the set right away, and you couldn't tell."
Yeah,
I don't know how many of these stories are. No one's going to watch this, but you know who's involved. But like when Poison Idea came to Japan, like not the last time, but the time before, they were not that great for various reasons. And after the show, like Jerry A was like sat on the stage at King Cobra, and he was like projectile vomiting, like into like the venue, and almost, you know, sort of as an act of sort of brotherhood, and I understand you, man. Jun from Warhead also started projectile vomiting. So there was the two of them like.
So at least they show somebody in a bucket.
This was just like all over the floor of the venue.
Gross. I can smell it.
Yeah, I did smell it. The sights, the sounds, the smells. Anyway, enough of that. Enough puke stories. Dennis, what's your last pick?
Oh shit, I don't know.
Pick a record, any record.
Did you pick 5?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing. I was just kind of going with the flow, but yeah, we'll go with this. Maybe Mike knows something about them. This is just
Oh,
one of the demo tapes. I think first release probably. This is like a tape only release in '83, I think. But God, like this is just classic, such good like English punk. Like it's so fucking catchy. Just has that sound, you know, of that time. And I just love the way the vocals are done and the way the songs go, just everything about it. Like it's just, I listen to this a lot, and yeah, I fucking love this. It's just
pretty like obscure band, I guess. For them, you know, they were obviously rescued by demo tapes. I'd never heard of them at the time.
yeah,
It wasn't until Paco and those guys, you know, put that out that I heard them. But yeah, it's crazy to think how many good like unknown bands that were like demo only or like compilation track only bands from the UK at that time in the 80s.
right. I mean, God, what a hotbed of amazing music.
I feel like demo tapes and sealed, like those labels are really finding all those and then giving them like the royal treatment.
Yeah, really cool. And the drummer, I think, from that band was in Lush, which is really weird.
There is that connection, right? But that's why like Mickey was on like Hardskin, Mickey from Lush on the Hardskin records and stuff.
Right. Yeah, really. Yeah, I don't know. Paco's, I've always heard he's got an insane record collection. But yeah.
Dennis, when did that come out? Like the reissue?
The reissue? I don't know. Maybe
It was a while ago.
Yeah,
It would be like 10 years, about 10 years.
That makes sense. That's
something like that.
About when I was coming out of my slump era, so I missed a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to grab that because like I've had that in computer music for like a million years, but didn't realize it was available.
Yeah, I mean, probably it was pressed again too, like another time at least with a better cover, like a pocket cover. This one's just like a folded thing. But, I'd love to make a back patch of this. I've wanted to, but I just been too lazy to do it. But
that is a cool looking band name.
I know, and that you can just see that on a back patch. It's
It's real distinctive. I like it.
It's almost like Crow, the band or the person, kind of had seen.
It does kind of have that.
At some point, but I don't know if he did or not, but.
Yeah, it's probably not too expensive to get, I'd imagine. I hope.
I checked before because I don't have that one. It was like, it wasn't as much as some of those earlier demo tape releases are really expensive now. But that one's maybe because I got a repress.
I just
a little easier. Oh, that's like
it's been shown before, but it's just a give them another shout out for Sealed Records, and it's another great one that they did.
That's great. That stuff is so good. Like I don't know. I kind of don't like the 7-inch, but that is fucking amazing. It's really good. The 7-inch they just do some weird shit, and you're just like.
Luckily, it kind of comes at the end, right? On this.
Yeah.
Towards the end.
Yeah, the main draw to that one's like the demo or whatever, but it's like a lot more songs on it. It's just so well done and not weird. Some people like the 7-inch. I remember Tom said he loves the 7-inch, but you can't do it.
Different people have different tastes.
Really?
Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
Like Jesse Coleman. Are you still watching, Jesse? He's probably gone to bed, eh?
He fell asleep.
Like a sensible person.
We're all Jesse fans here. We like Jesse.
Well, that's why we can joust with him. We love him.
Yeah.
All right. Hazel, it's the last pick of the day. What you got?
All right, I have 3 different other ones that I pulled, alternates to think about. Let's see. I think I'm going to go with this Sensual World LP. It came out like, I want to say 2018 or 2019, somewhere in there.
that the one from Virginia? Or like,
yes.
okay.
Yeah, they played Philly and they played Pittsburgh, and I've seen them in like a few different places, and they were really good. Both. Matt, were you at any of those shows?
No.
I think I know me and Bronco were at least one, and we're like raving up about them afterward. It's really good, like dark wiper style punk, kind of melodic, but not a lot. There's elements of it that remind me a little bit of some of those Swedish bands like Mass Hysteria, but not quite as like bouncy sounding, if that makes any sense. It's a little bit more like mid-tempo, driving, sort of trance-like, listening to the whole record because they use like similar tempos and beats in songs a lot, but it works. They still sound different from each other. Cool cover art. I'm not sure if they're still around, but I hope so because it'd be really cool to see them again. Neat sung, like slightly echoey vocals. Good one to check out for fans of dark punk that's not super like post-punk or goth sounding, which I like a lot of those bands, but I feel like everybody's doing the like super, pedal board, like twinkly post-punk stuff these days. I'm like,
a little bit overdone. Yeah.
Sometimes I want to hear something a little bit more straightforward, and this scratches that itch.
Nice. Dennis, was your friend Chris in that band from Richmond?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I've never even heard that band, but I want to check it out. He might. Chris Marshall, maybe. The drummer, was he drumming in that? Maybe?
Yeah. I thought it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Sensual.
The drumming was really good though. I don't know anybody in this band or like who's in it, but good solid drumming for sure.
It's cool looking.
Yeah, it's funny, like that kind of dark punk, like I think like Sweden does that really well. But then like there's a lot of goth around right these days, like post-punk.
It's one of those cases where it's really easy to get the sound. It's really hard to write the music.
The soul.
Yeah.
You get the vocals too. I think the vocals are wrong a lot. Like they gotta have some good vocals on them. Like Flesh World, I think did it really well.
That's
Yes,
has Flesh World been on the show yet?
I don't think so.
I have all their records and I love all of them.
I think all three of us saw them in Columbus, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this band awesome. Kind of fits in with similar thing to what Flesh World are doing.
Okay, nice, nice. That band should be like.
I think they might have played together.
Oh, maybe they were just like. It's like they were doing the right thing at the wrong time. Like it wasn't in vogue.
I feel like I don't even know what it takes anymore. I think it's random. Like
I think so. We're not talking about sort of selling 1 million records, just getting a bit more.
But just that to be talked about in cool circles or something.
But they should have been. I mean, they were from San Francisco at the time, right?
Yeah, they had members of bands. Like,
yeah, it fits in with the whole formula.
They were on Iron Lung.
Yeah.
Maybe they were. I mean, I don't. I'm just talking about my arse space. I don't know if how popular they were, or like how well known they were, or like.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they played a decent crowd in Columbus, which is pretty far away.
They were playing with Sheer Mag. That's
they were.
Crowd came. Yeah,
that makes sense. Because I was gonna say Columbus usually has terrible taste, and they don't go see good bands. But that makes sense if Sheer Mag was playing.
I was going to say something and it's gone. I was going to mention my favorite Flesh World song, totally randomly. Doesn't really.
What is it?
Well, let's hear it.
Sturdy Swiss Hiker.
It's Sturdy Swiss Hiker. That's Mike's favorite Flesh World song.
Swiss Hiker.
Scott would be funny on this show. He's a diabolical hater. He'd be a funny person to have on here.
It's good. It's okay. It's nice to be a hater if you can do it in a good way.
Yeah, there's an art to hating.
There's an art to it. Yes. All right. That was a great show. So many great picks.
Yeah.
Talking of Screamo, let me announce next week's show. Well, next week is one of those Long Island episodes that I personally always have a good time with the Long Island crew. Mike DeLorenzo from like Kill Your Idols and like a million bands. Anthony Corrado and Elise coming on. It's gonna be a good time. Long Island in the house. Mr.
Strong
Gloucester. Strong Island.
I'm from is the strong one.
Tune in next Friday. What is it next Friday? June 28th. 10
June
p.m.
28th.
June
And
28th.
remember, everyone watching, 500,000 subscribers by the next episode, or it won't happen. It won't happen.
Yes.
Like and subscribe. Click the bell.
Like, yes, everybody who's watching, like, subscribe.
Yeah.
All 3 of you.
15, apparently.
We're almost there.
Until next time, take care of yourselves. I don't want to say my catchphrase anymore. I'm tired of it.
Oh, I'll say it.
You say it.
Stay healthy and stay clean.